York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 659. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
I am doing fine. We are recording on election night, and we are not talking about the election. We are going to talk about something even more depressing, the New York Knicks.
They have gone 2-1 since the last episode, but it doesn't feel like that.
No, it does not feel like that. So since last episode, they beat the Heat. They beat the crap out of the Detroit YMCA League team, and they lost a stinker to the Rockets.
Yeah, so I'm glad the Knicks didn't lose to the Heat. I hate losing to the Heat.
Well, I guess you're glad they didn't lose the Pistons because the Pistons don't even look like an NBA team.
It is. Those are the kind of games I hate, though. Like, if they win, you're like, yeah, they're supposed to. And if they lose, you're like, holy crap, they lost to a team that bad. I don't like games against the really bad teams.
Okay, I'm going to go. Jay has a power ranking thing we could go over, but I'm going to do, and we'll check in our under overs later in the episode. You want to hear my topics? Want to hear my topics?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. I don't know if you noticed, Jay, in the Knicks Rockets game last night, behind the Rockets bench, there was a hot blonde. She had like a white jacket, a red tube top, and she was pretty attractive. And I liked when they showed the Rockets bench because I saw her in the. You got to see her every time.
All right, stay tuned for our full in-depth coverage of that.
Well, I bring that. Do you want to know why I bring that up?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's the only positive thing I have to say about the game.
Okay.
There's nothing else positive whatsoever. Holy crap. That was literally the only good thing about the game.
I have another positive for that game.
Okay. Well, I'm doing my topics. You do yours later. Also, if you think if you're an old school person and you're like, I think all the NBA teams do now is just jack up threes, then you are not watching the Knicks. Not understand how helpful it can be to jack up threes. Do the Knicks only lose right before we record a show? It seems like that.
Yeah.
Jay's about to go on vacation. We may or may not do episodes while Jay is gone. Anyway, maybe the Knicks will not lose a game. It's possible the Knicks don't lose a game while Jay is gone because we're not recording an episode. Maybe we stop recording right now. The Knicks won't lose a game the rest of the season.
It will be a good test to see.
Also, we're going to explore why pass to an open three-point shooter when you can drive into four defenders. Said the Knicks over and over again, maybe Brunson. We also are going to explore why how rim protection is now the four-leaf clover of Knicks defense.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Etu McBride. Jay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is hand checking legal in the NBA?
It depends which refs are in the game.
Okay, I guess the refs in the game last night were totally cool when the Rockets did it. And again, this is a minor thing, but it's just there are some plays where I'm like, hey, isn't that hand checking? Not 90s basketball. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks. But I think Dylan Brooks got to call his own fouls last night. And then before last night's game, I had some topics also. You'll notice these topics seem more positive. I guess I was going to ask you. What Nick should we talk endlessly about this episode? Bashing him the way we bashed Cat last episode because that seemed to motivate him in the first two games of the week.
Yeah, I mean, we called him the Invisible Man, and then he dropped a 44-point game in the very next game.
Yeah. And we'll discuss if Cat. Again, this is when I was positive about everything. We'll discuss whether Cat is treating his opponents like Embiid treats journalists. And, did the Knicks get Cat in order to flip him for Giannis? We'll find out on Mark Stein's new show, Random Unnamed Execs Say the Craziest Things. And then my other topics are rebounding, rebounding, rebounding. The Mids police might be making arrests soon, and I'm starting to understand why Thibs really likes rim protection. Anyway, you want to get into everything?
Yeah, yeah. We usually have 60, 70 people in the live room. We have
no one.
We have 0. Is something going on today?
I don't know if anything's going on right now. If anything just closed, like our important results coming out right now that I've been doom scrolling on all goddamn day. Like all day I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay off Twitter for 10 minutes and try to do some work. Okay, 10 minutes are up, I'm back to doom scrolling.
Okay, somebody's in the room. Jay Shady said, I never thought Bridges was a 5 first-round guy. Now with Giannis possibly available, that's the kind of player worth that many draft picks.
Yeah, Bill Simmons was talking about how on his latest that did the Knicks blow their load a little early with Mikal now that Giannis might be available.
Is he available, or is it just that the Bucks are playing bad and people are just...
Anytime a team plays poorly, their stars are immediately up for trade, up for auction.
I mean, the Bucks would never, ever trade Giannis unless he specifically said, get me out of here. Like, there's no chance. He would have to say, trade me and trade me to the Knicks.
Right. You're saying he hasn't said those things already? Who knows? An unnamed exec, according to Mark Stein, might have said that already.
I mean, and if unless he demanded the Knicks, they would trade him to the West Coast. They don't want to see him multiple
Why
times a
would
year.
they trade him in the East? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But we have unnamed execs saying things, so.
Okay. Was it an unnamed Bucks exec? Because if it wasn't a Bucks exec, I don't believe it.
Maybe it was an unnamed exec in the Giannis household, then I believe it. But yeah, I so as far as that, Giannis will not be a Knick. The Knicks did not screw up. The Knicks, you could argue whatever you want about their previous trades, but none of them prevent the Knicks from getting Giannis because he was never coming here.
Agreed.
And if he was coming here anyway, Kat and Mikal might get you Giannis.
Right. And I think they still have another draft pick or two they can throw in.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. That's something we should not wait too much. Though for years I was like the cat trade, like it's a joke. The cat trades never happened. The cat trade's never happening. And woe and be like now we have Cat, and boy, am I understand why everyone was so excited to get him.
Because correct me if I'm wrong. 2 out of the 5 picks for Bridges were the garbage picks from other teams, right?
Yeah. There wasn't 5 Knicks first rounds.
Which means the Knicks still have first rounders they could trade.
Yeah, they still have first rounders they can trade. Like at some point they can.
Okay. So glad we cleared that up. Do you want to go over the games first, or do you want to do the power rankings? What do you want to do?
Okay, well, power rankings, I'll do them real fast. Okay, Brunson's number 1. Didn't have a great game against Houston. Whatever. Number 2 is Cat. Cat had a huge week, but then he fell asleep. Like he got some rebounds and whatever. Like they're not using Cat correctly for all their. This team is very frustrating right now. 3 good wins. Cat looked good in those wins. 3 bad losses. Knicks look bad in those. Knicks, as a whole team, look bad in those losses. Knicks can't beat a team that switches on them. Apparently, switching on them is the secret formula. Knicks don't understand. You got to shoot 3-pointers.
You're so fed up.
I'm already fed. We're 6 games in. The Knicks are 3-3. The sky is not crashing. Obviously, the point about the Heatles and being 9-8, nothing's that wrong. The Knicks will probably win their next game. Next, they play. Who do they play next? They play
the Hawks, right?
They play the Hawks. Hawks aren't very good. The Knicks should be able to beat the Hawks. They play the Bucks, who are really the sky is crashing on them. On Friday, they could easily be 5-3 by the end of the week. Do you want to go over things let's talk about things we're frustrated about.
You done with the rankings?
Okay. What are you going to tell me in these? We'll do the episode. Okay, tell me what in the rankings. What's your surprise in the order is it's Brunson, then Cat. OG is ahead of Mikal, but then Mikal Bridges. Then I guess Josh Hart is 5th. Deuce is 6th, and then who gives a shit?
You got it. All right, we can move on.
The team is so thin right now. We're finally paying for the fact that we didn't draft anyone in the last 12 years. it's the depth is not great right now.
The New York Knicks podcast.com is the website. I do post them every week, so if you want to check that out, I put comments next to each one so you can see the comments.
Okay, if you want to address depth, and also we were missing last night campaign, which didn't help. Though campaign when he's on the floor doesn't seem to help either. The depth issue. Do you think Thibs should be giving some of the rookies more of a role, more of some run? He got Kolek was out there for 4 or 5 minutes last night. Perhaps he should give them right now. He like last night he played the starters like it was the goddamn Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I don't like this strategy. I think it's worth it. You lost the game anyway, and it wasn't
Right.
particularly close. Like the Knicks weren't out of it, but they weren't.
But they were close. Like with a couple minutes to go, they were very in the game.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I would. You have two injury-prone players in the starting lineup, and they're healthy right now. Let's not play them 40 minutes a game. He seems to be like concerned enough about Towns, where he limits Towns' minutes, but he doesn't seem at all worried about OG.
Well, it's easy to limit Towns' minutes because Sims is just such a good replacement. Wow, Sims has really developed in the 4 years he's been in New York. He is so good at basketball. Did you know he could jump high and not much else?
Did you know that he had a game high plus 14?
I did. That's why plus minus sometimes is meaningless. I mean, he could not look more. I mean, like, I guess, like, I assume Thibs is saying, like, I can't, like, he's been here for a while. Let me give him a few more games. Let me see what he can do before I just say Huck Porty's got his role. And not that Huck Porty's been that amazing either. But man, Sims really doesn't look like he will ever develop into a guy that can really help on the NBA court.
To me, it's not only that. Like, you can't play a 7-man rotation. First of all, it's early in the season. These games aren't like you could lose a few games. The East isn't this powerhouse anymore. You got Embiid hasn't even played yet, and he's getting suspended for 3 games when he is healthy. Milwaukee's garbage. Like there's like 6 good teams left in the East right now, right? Like
Right.
so stop worrying about this and just play Kolek, play Huck Porty. Don't play these guys 40 minutes a game. Might you lose? What are you going to lose? 1, 2 extra games, maybe? Like it's not like these guys are complete trash.
I mean, you got to figure out. Maybe give Daddy a chance. You got to figure out if some of these guys can play.
Just
Nick
play
signed
8,
also
9 guys. I don't care. Like, okay, Cam's
It's really
injured, play
early.
somebody else. Play 9 guys always.
Right. Just not always. You could at least do it for the first few weeks of the season, the first 2 months of the season. Figure out more of what you have on this team.
Yeah.
Like Kolek, maybe he can really contribute, and you'll want him in the rotation later in the season. Who knows unless you give him a chance. Also, I understand the reluctance of give any rookie a real chance, but your your bench is really slim pickings right now. And I agree with you, Jay. When Precious gets back, it looks better, but there's no official timeline on him yet. Mitch, it'll look better, but January seems, tomorrow, it's election night. Tomorrow seems pretty far away. January seems like it's years away. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just play some guys now.
The Knicks, like have a 9-man rotation. It's just 3 of them are injured.
Right. But now we don't. Currently, we
I
don't.
feel like you should just replace that. That's why you have 15 guys on the roster. So when a guy gets injured, you put them in.
I agree that maybe Jacob Toppin is not he's not. You don't need to play him, but you could play Huck Porty. You could play Daddier. You could play Kolek. You could sign. Who's the new guy they just signed?
Oh, the guy Matt Ryan, who
Matt
he's
Ryan.
like a
They signed Matt
45%
Ryan.
3-point shooter.
Right. He's a forward. He's a 3-point shooter. Please tell me you did not sign him just so the bench doesn't fall. Just so someone else you don't need someone else to sit in the bench. Let him play a little.
No, they did it because the league mandated that they have a certain amount of guys on the roster, so they just signed somebody.
Good enough. But I don't know. The Knicks also signed Boo Buie. I don't know if
Well,
you know that.
hang the
To a
banner.
two-way contract.
Hang the banner. So Huckporty got a real 2-year contract, an actual
Yeah.
official contract.
I think there's an option for the second year, maybe a team option.
But still, it's an actual. It's not a
Whatever.
2-way. It's an actual
And
NBA contract. So
Bowie's another small guard, which the Knicks so badly need another small guard. But anyway, he's not that relevant. But they signed this guy. Matt Ryan could shoot threes. Daddy, it seems like they really could use an extra tall guy who play offense and defense, or one of those two.
yeah, I mean, I know Towns isn't the best on defense, but you see how much the Knicks miss Mitch.
And yeah,
and
someone asked me
Precious,
earlier
yeah.
tonight. They're like, "Would you instead of Towns, would you rather just have iHeart, Randall, and Devo here?" And I was like, "I just iHeart alone would, of course, I would rather have those guys there. Like once you lost iHeart, that really hurt. And I know he's injured right now anyway, but there's no toughness whatsoever in the paint. There is zero rim protection. It is frustrating. Every time a guy dribbles towards the basket, whoever's playing center, which is usually Towns, he just backs away and lets the guy shoot 5 feet from the basket because he's gonna make sure he's under the rim.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I can't I know it's drop coverage, but drop coverage does not mean you don't challenge a single shooter if you're the center.
yeah. And Sims does it even worse. Sims backs all the way up under the net and then jumps up, and
He mistimed one of his jumps last night where he just didn't get the rebound because he jumped early, and you're like, what is he even doing?
I saw another one where the ball was almost in the net and he went for a block, and I'm like, it was such a
What?
goal.
Yes.
I haven't seen such a bad goaltending in a while.
It was literally one of the worst goaltends I've ever seen. Yes, it was completely ridiculous. I don't know if the shot would have gone in or not, but yeah, it was ridiculous. It just Sims looks like a rookie right now, so just play the rookie.
Right, right.
And it's not the biggest of issue. I mean, there are many issues. If you're going to talk about issues, the if you're going to talk about issues, first, I guess, do you want to talk about offense or defense first?
I think let's talk about offense because I think that'll be shorter because I don't think it's that bad.
Okay, offense. Why are they not shooting at least 35 to 43s a game? And they did do that, and the 2 wins they had this week against Detroit and against Miami, they shot a lot of threes. Last night against Houston, why did they only shoot 28 threes?
Yeah, that was a weird game because Houston only shot 33. It just both teams just seemed to want to drive it or take mid range. Houston only took 33 and they shot 24% and they still won the game.
Nick shot 40% from three. Does Brunson know he's allowed to do pick and rolls with guys that didn't go to college with him?
I know
We said
we
it
said it last
Josh Hart.
episode. I don't know why he just doesn't do a pick and roll with Towns 90% of the plays.
Here's the thing. So a couple different things. So first, there should be a pick and roll with Towns should be the guy screening on all the time when Brunson comes up there. But also, Towns often will post up, right?
Yeah.
And on the one hand, yeah, I get why he's posting up because he's a very large individual. But is it helpful for him to post up? Because if he's posting up, that means his defender is also near the basket and the paint's not open. And the purpose of having Towns here is for the paint to be more open.
Yeah. Agreed.
You should have him doing have him doing the screen, or have him just standing on the 3-point line. And then just when Brunson drives, kick it out, find Cat, let him hit some threes. He's not going to do not every night. He won't nail every three every night, but obviously he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. Make the other team suffer if they leave him open at the 3-point line.
Agreed. Tom
I mean,
wants to know if the Knicks can sign Dwight Howard.
Sure.
I mean, he would be better than Sims, right?
There is no way Dwight Howard, even with an injury, is not better than Sims.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't mind. I'd see that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Precious might be back soon, which will solve a lot of that issue because even with Precious back, I guess with Precious back, you could say Precious is the main backup center, even though he's not a center, but he can be the main backup center, and you could have Huck Porty, and then Sims. I don't know. Maybe Sims can make lunch for the team.
And Payne should. I think Payne is just a minor injury anyway, so the Knicks could like have an actual rotation soon. It's just last game was just a head scratcher of why. Like Kolek didn't look bad. He only played 6 minutes. Like why not play him 12 minutes?
Wait, Payne hasn't looked that Payne. Yeah, you could have taken Brunson out, and the Knicks also. I think they went down by the most points when Brunson was off the floor. So like Thibs gets scared to take Brunson off the floor.
I guess, but Kolek was only a -4.
Oh, okay.
And Brunson was a -8. I'm not saying,
Yeah, and Brunson played.
I'm just saying they didn't lose a ton of points when Kolek was out there. It's not like he went out there, they immediately went down by 10, and then they took him out. Like,
I have a question. But in the commercial, when before the fourth quarter came on, did Brunson put on his headphones and play that song "My Hero" by what's it called? Foo Fighters? Was he just listening to that? Because he switches, sometimes he just switches the hero ball.
He does. And he doesn't need to on this team.
Right. I understand the playoffs when the team was really short, really thin. You're like, Brunson, you're the only one that can score tonight. The Knicks are like, hey, we pretty much surrounded with you guys that could score. Just pass to them.
Not to mention,
trust your teammates.
Like OG was red hot.
Well, OG was red hot. Bridges wasn't bad either.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bridges here partly for his scoring ability, and Cat is considered one of the best offensive big men in the NBA. You have to, if anything, Cat scoring is more important than Brunson for this team.
Yeah, Cat. I mean, I want him to also take shots in the paint, but two 3-pointers when he's a 40% 3-point shooter is not good either.
No, he should be shooting 5 threes a game just to open shit up so they have to guard him, because historically he's a good 3-point shooter. Even if he's missing his threes, people are going to try to guard him. You got to open up, and I understand like every once in a while he'll post up, but it can't be his main point of getting the ball. Like if anything, you want to give him the ball like in movement, in motion, setting pick and roll. I mean, if Cat scores, he's going. Everyone else is more open. If Brunson's scoring, the paint's still clogged. There's still a lot of issues related to that. Like it's not his fault, but like it doesn't open things up the way Cat scoring opens things up for everyone.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And
they
Cat's been shooting crazy from 3. He was 0 for 2 last night, but before last night he was second in the entire NBA in shooting like 65% or something from 3.
There was one play where like Brunson was driving in, and like he'd driven a couple times and had some issues, and like the paint, like there's 4 guys right there.
Mm-hmm.
Cat's just standing there watching him at the 3-point line. And I get why he was just watching. Like, hey, like just drive and kick. Sometimes that's a really good idea in today's NBA.
Yeah. If I had one thing to complain about Brunson, he does not pass it as much as he should. Yeah, he had 8 assists last night, which is great, but it feels like he should have on this team like double digits, like once in a while.
Once in a while. I mean, the 8 assists is a fine. It's just like it felt like he had tunnel vision, especially late in the game.
Yeah.
It's also when the other team is making it really hard for you to drive. Like Brunson's also a really good 3-point shooter. You could shoot the threes, Brunson, or maybe you give the ball to Bridges. He can handle the ball. Someone else, or Deuce, or whatever, and maybe you, Brunson, spend 1 or 2 plays camped out the 3-point line so they can kick it to you because you're a really good 3-point shooter.
Yeah, but Brunson's still like he's the best player. He still had a great game. He was getting to the line. He was hitting all his free throws. So like, I don't want to like start dogpiling on Brunson. I think
is that what you wrote in your power rankings? Like that, the word for word? Like
I'm reading from the
you're like Brunson. Right, Brunson's still the best player, so I don't want to get on top of him, but I don't want to like pile on him and all that. And he's still really good, but yeah, sometimes frustrating. But anyway, he's the best player on the Knicks. I mean, he is the best player on the Knicks, no question. But like, sometimes he can be frustrating.
He can. I felt like the Knicks' bigger problems were the guys just looking a little bit gassed at the end. McBride.
Oh, I wonder why they look gassed.
McBride having the worst game of his entire career.
McBride was just
how he was a plus 10. I don't know, but he was 0 for 9, 3 fouls. Like
didn't he had one cool play where he like Knicks turned the ball over, and there was an outlet pass thrown, and he caught the outlet and brought and like basically stole the ball back. That was really cool. Otherwise, McBride just looked terrible last night.
That was half his stats for the game.
I
0
mean,
points, 0 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals.
He gives his effort on defense, no question. He never seems slacking on defense. He always giving effort. He just like could not put the ball. He didn't even like miss a free throw last night.
He did not take a free throw.
Oh, okay, maybe whatever. He didn't. I thought he took one free throw. Either way, he looked not great last night.
I mean, everybody has an off night. He's still a really, really good player. I would have liked to have seen Kolek play more and Huckporty play, because why are you playing guys 40 minutes a game?
I mean, I know the score also, the Knicks lost by 12, but I think if McBride hits 3 shots last night, the Knicks win the game. Like the Knicks, like some of the points at the end of the game were like the score was a little closer than the final score gives you. If he had just hit a few buckets, the Knicks probably win the game, or at least maybe send it to overtime. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I would still be like they did the same thing in Miami, and I was still like, minutes were a little heavy this early in the season.
I think the team is really like the depth is not great because Thibs, I mean, doesn't trust Sims. Understandable. I don't know why Sims even needs to play. He doesn't trust Kolek because he's a rookie. Doesn't trust Campaign out there generally. And does Campaign look great? Like, wow. What do you think of how he's looked so far?
I mean, he's active. He gets a lot of assists for the minutes he plays.
He does. That is true. That is absolutely true.
But he also shoots like he just tries to do everythhy. He shoots like he thinks he's the best guy on the court.
His shots look so weird. His shooting has been bad so far, but that's fluky, I guess. It's only like he's shooting 36% on the season. He's probably like in the 40, like he should be in the 40s.
Yeah, but he played 12 minutes in the Miami and the Detroit game, and he got 5 assists and 3 assists. So he's swinging the ball around, which is good. I mean, his per minute assists are best on the team.
Yeah, and he's had a history of like doing some good stuff on the NBA court. Like he's a veteran at this point.
He's fine. Like if he's your backup point guard, that's not a problem. It's just,
right.
It's just
I feel like
no
Kolek might be able to like learn from him and maybe like give him a run for his money at some point later in the season. But like it's nothing. The Knicks could use another player.
Yeah.
I mean, not like beyond a center. The Knicks could use another guy who could like score the basket.
They need a wing because I don't want to see OG and Bridges play 40 minutes a game every night.
It's weird because the Knicks now have 2 really good wings, yet they don't seem to have enough wings.
I mean, maybe that problem gets settled when Hart is backing them up.
Yes. If Josh Hart moves to the bench and McBride becomes the starting 2, that could help. You disagree, I know.
I do. I don't know. I think when everybody's back, maybe Precious starts, or I don't know.
I'm starting to also. You're starting to win me over that maybe Mitch should be the starting center and Cat should be the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because it's been rough watching Cat play the center.
I mean that would emulate what Minnesota did, and Minnesota almost got to the finals last year. Then you have Hart, McBride, and Precious and Payne on the bench. That's a solid rotation. That's
right. The rotation looks a lot better if Precious can be part of the rotation as a backup center and Mitch is a starting center. I just don't think the Knicks got Towns not to have him as a center. But like the rim protection has been brutal right now.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think even if you start Mitch, you have 4 guys who can put up a ton of points, and now you have 2 or 3 bench players that can also. I think it fixes a lot of problems that the Knicks have right now.
Right, I agree. So I agree with you that if Mitch can play like he did first pre-injury last season at center, not post-injury where he wasn't very good, but pre-injury.
Yeah.
And he starts and you have Cat as the 4, and then you're right, you have OG and I guess Bridges with Brunson out there. You have Hart, McBride on the bench. You have like it does like some of the bench looks lengthened. Precious comes off the bench. Precious is now currently if Mitch is the backup center, and then it's either him or Precious, not both of them playing.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
'Cause
Precious
right
can back
now-
up well either Mitch or Towns.
What'd you say?
Precious,
Precious?
like if you're starting Mitch, Precious could back up Mitch or Towns.
Right, but I mean, like you can't have the Knicks can't have two guys on the floor that can't shoot the ball from
That
three.
is true. That is true.
So like that's the problem with like you can't play Precious and Mitch together. That didn't work. You can play Precious with Cat. You can play Mitch with Cat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no,
it's a
you're right.
logic problem here. You can't play the two of them together. They have to be off the court. Only one of them could be on the court at the same time.
Right.
So, but the bench looks a lot better if you do that. And what if Matt Ryan is awesome? He's just not been on our roster for some unknown reason, but he's awesome. That would be really helpful.
You know who the Knicks could really use? Bogdanovich.
Where is Bogdanovich now?
I thought he was in Detroit.
Is he on Detroit though?
I thought he was.
I think Burks is on. Is Burks in Detroit or Burks? The Burks is not on Detroit.
Detroit's
Burks
like
is,
the island of misfit toys. Like, just the most
I mean, not
random
that
guys on that team.
Bogdanovich doesn't play great defense. So the defense flat out looks worse than last year. No question, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Except in the Detroit game when Detroit. So Detroit turned the ball over, I think, 1,000 times in the first quarter. It was like unimaginably bad basketball. It looked like they were auditioning to be the Washington Generals. The Pistons, I don't know how long you could be this bad and still be this bad as a team.
yeah, yeah. It's mind-boggling. It really is.
Do you think Detroit will renew Monty Williams' contract when it's up in 4 seasons? They gave him the franchise. They're like, you're gonna be a coach. We're gonna pay you $90 million, 5-year deal. You are the future, Monty. You're fired by the end of the season. We're not giving you a moment more than 1 season to run this. Now we're on to someone else, and we're gonna fire that guy soon too.
Boggs is on the Nets,
Okay.
but he hasn't played yet.
Okay, if you're not using him,
I think
we have him?
I think he was still recovering from his injury
okay.
because he's a game time decision for tomorrow.
I noticed the Nets, and then last night they started Claxton, but I noticed they were benching Claxton for the first 2 games, like just having him come off the bench, which is really weird because they signed him to a $100 million contract and then decided to bring him off the bench.
I mean, I would say I don't. Oh, thank you, King Ribby. He said Nets. Yeah. I would say I don't know what they're doing, but they already have 4 wins. So
But they're already better than the Knicks.
I mean, they played 2 more games. They're 4-4.
Whatever.
But
we can't throw stones from our really broke our glass house right now.
no. But did we bet over on the Nets?
I think we bet over on the Nets.
Yeah, we so that's good.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe if the Knicks don't do well this season, but the Nets go over, it'll be a net positive.
No pun intended.
All pun intended. Okay. So, do you want to talk positive things about the Knicks?
Yeah.
By the way, why can't the Knicks? So if a team switches, like, I guess the thing is the Knicks when they play against a team that is switching on them, they're 0-3. When they play against a team that doesn't switch, they're 3-0. They can't now. The Knicks they used to have trouble with zone defense. Now, if you just switch defenders on them, the Knicks are like, "What do I do?" The last guy had a different name who was guarding me. Why can't they figure that out?
We did not bet over on the Nets.
Oh, okay. Well, there's lots of things that are disappointing to talk about tonight.
I want a positive. OG has found his offense, and when OG is good on offense, you see why the Knicks played him so much money.
I mean, have the Knicks lost every good game he's had so far?
Well, no. He was good.
No, that's not true.
No, that's not true. But, I mean, he was... I don't know.
He was good last night. He was really good last night.
really
He's
good.
awesome. Just need everyone to click a little more so together. So I'm not that worried about OG on offense. I'm a little worried about Bridges on offense. I'm just worried about the Knicks aren't figuring out, and it's early, but they haven't figured out how to really fit him into the offense.
Yeah, I mean, this comes when you have 8 new guys on the team, and it's early in the season. It seems like they're figuring it out. Like it seems like
Slowly.
the first 3 games, OG and Bridges looked kind of like a little bit lost, and they've been taking more shots lately, and more in the flow of the offense. Like a couple games ago, OG took like 6 shots. Now he's taking 15 shots a game. More what you want to see from him. And he also looked more aggressive too. He looked like he was not only like being in the right spot for a pass, but he was driving and looking for his shot too.
Right. And Bridges, I guess he did have 15 points last night. I just felt he was a little bit more absent than he like, and not maybe to his fault, but like Knicks need to find a better way to get him more involved. I like him being out there with the bench unit, but if he's out with the bench unit, he's got to be more of a focal point of the offense.
Yeah, this is why I don't want McBride starting. You can't have all your shooters at once. Like that's when guys feel like they're lost a little bit. And
Well,
do you know the Knicks all 5 starters scored in double figures for I think 5 games in a row, which is the most they've done in decades.
yeah, I mean, it might be a Knicks record or close to a Knicks record, which is crazy. I mean, the offensive attack is really balanced. But how many points did the Knicks bench get last night?
Do you really want to know?
I know the answer.
Yeah.
3 fucking points.
And it was Kolek who played 6 minutes.
He hit 1 shot, a 3-pointer, and that was the end of the Knicks bench. Like, your bench can't not contribute on offense.
Has there ever been a team that had no bench scoring? Like 0?
I mean, it's absurd. It is absolutely absurd. And so, okay, against the Heat, the Knicks had 116 points. How many bench points?
8.
12.
It's not good.
Against, I guess I cannot count the Detroit game because that just doesn't really count.
But
against
the bench played like half.
Okay, against Detroit, in a game they beat the crap out of Detroit, a blowout win. How many bench? And they had 128 points. How many bench points?
22.
Yeah, exactly. Did you look?
No.
Okay. And that was in a blowout where the bench should have been playing major minutes. Instead, like 6 minutes ago in the game, I'm screaming, "Why is Cat being brought back out onto the floor?"
So, 16 times there's been a game with 0 bench points.
16 times?
Yeah.
Are you making a prediction about the rest of the season or
No, that's how many times a bench team has scored 0 points. 16 times.
on the Knicks or in NBA history?
In NBA history.
Okay, so the Knicks are going to be the number set. The Knicks are going to tie an NBA record soon. The bench, they have to find a way to make the bench more helpful. I understand McBride scored like 0 points, and he's not going to do that. The bench needs to. I don't know what the perfect ratio is. How many points do you think the Rockets bench scored?
Last night I would say 17.
30.
I mean, that's the way it should be.
Yeah. So, and against the Heat, how many points did the Heat's bench score?
27.
21. I would say, like, there are certain things the Knicks need to just, you can't count the Pistons game, whatever, but I think there are certain things, numbers the Knicks need to hit. The Knicks need to shoot night from their bench. Like, that's really optimally the Knicks will get 20 points from their bench. They have to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be hard to win games if the bench cannot contribute 20 points or close to that most nights.
Yeah.
Also, did you notice the Knicks? So I know Towns had a huge rebounding game.
Yeah.
The Knicks got crushed on the boards last night.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that considering Towns had 19 boards. Like, but he got like most of the boards.
It also seemed, I know he had 9, Towns had 9 offensive rebounds, but it seemed like 7 of them came from shots he missed on his own. Like he'd shoot, get the rebound, shoot again, get the rebound. Like it didn't seem like he was like really dominating the offensive glass. Yeah, he had a couple actually that where like Brunson shot and then he put it back in.
Yeah.
But at least a few of them were off his own misses. I don't know. The rebounding's got to get better also.
Do you want to hear a fun stat?
Yeah, I like fun stats.
I
Wait, is it going to be a stat that depresses me?
No, I was looking at the teams who had 0 bench points in NBA history. The Grizzlies.
Is it all like the Chicago Bulls, the when they won the titles?
No, actually, the Knicks had 3 games in a row in 1981. Actually, but they hardly played their bench in those games. They had 3 bench minutes in one of those games. So
Tibbs would have loved that era.
3 bench minutes for the
People are
entire
like,
game.
Tibbs, why'd you play your bench so much? I'm sorry. I felt for 3 minutes of the game we need to use the bench, but I'll try not to do that again. I understand we play our starters 48 minutes a night. This is how the NBA works in 1981.
So, the Grizzlies in 2000 played 68 bench minutes and had 0 points.
68 bench minutes and he had 0 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That's pretty I don't know. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty you're like maybe I'll go to the 3 minutes a night for the bench because clearly the bench is not contributing. So Precious might be back sometime in the next few weeks, hopefully, which will help.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't come soon enough, really.
It really cannot come soon enough. But yeah, so the Knicks got to get more. Is Towns allowed to like this drop coverage the Knicks use? Are you allowed to challenge a shooter like at all going towards the basket? Like, does Towns understand? The Towns and Sims fully grasp what drop coverage means?
I don't know. It's a little rough. Like,
No one's ever explained to me what drop coverage actually means. I'm just watching the game, so maybe I don't fully grasp it. It just seems like there's so many guys you're like, you shouldn't let him walk like 5 feet in front of the free throw line and just take a shot. Like, just challenge him. If he goes around you, so what? It's better than letting him shoot like
the thing
shots
is,
from mid.
you don't have to know what drop coverage is, but they should.
Yes. I don't know, and I'm not like everyone else. It's really really rough not having any rim protection whatsoever. It is rough. I know people are giving Tibbs so much crap over the years of like, oh, Tibbs needs a rim protector. Tibbs needs a rim protector. Like, why is this a baby about this? Why does he need a traditional center? Let's play Obi at center. That'll work out really well. By the way, no one's complaining that Obi's on the bench now for the Pacers. And Obi's fine, but like when he's on the Knicks, they're like, he needs to play center. He needs to play 40 minutes a night. Obi's so good. And now I'm just going off rant like for no good reason.
This is the crankiest I've ever seen you on this podcast.
I'm very cranky after last night's game. Are you not cranky?
I'm a little cranky. I'm not like, I'm not like on your level because
I know the sky is not falling. I know they're 3-3. I know they won 2 of the last 3 games since the last show. I know they beat the living crap out of Detroit, which almost doesn't count. They beat Miami, which was really fun, which that was a tight game. It was nice seeing Towns take it to Butler. It's nice being Jimmy Butler. Miami always brings it. It's nice to see Towns also having some big games. His game against Miami was huge, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I just think
he had 40. How many points did he have against? He had 44 points against Miami. That was awesome.
Yeah, against Bam, who's supposed to be one of the best defenders in the league. So that was awesome.
Yeah, he played really well. I did not like Sengun also just like, is Sengun like a lot better than Towns? Like Sengun could not be stopped. He just kept laying it into the basket, and he only had 25 points. But it seemed like anytime he wanted to do his hook shot, the Knicks were like, "Oh, what was us?"
He's really good. I will say that I think the first 20 games are going to be like this. Just one game you're like, they're winning the championship. The next game you're like, holy crap, they have so far to go. And it's just going to go back and forth like this.
Is every game going to have at least 1 to 2? Why did Towns do that? That's just a stupid foul. Why does he have to do a stupid foul? 1 to 2 stupid fouls every game.
I think that's going to be literally every game for the whole season, for the rest of his career. It seems like that's been his MO in Minnesota. So, but I think the Knicks are going to start rolling. I think we're going to see another January run like we saw last year. I really do.
Mitch gets back and suddenly they're unbeatable.
Yeah, I really feel confident about that. We're going to have to ride out the storm, and it might be a little rocky for the next month or two.
Or did Mark Stein let you know that the Knicks trading Towns for Giannis in January?
I mean, every single star that wants out gets linked to the Knicks. At this point, I'm so numb to it.
Right. I love the idea the Knicks finally make some moves, and they're like, "Oh, did the Knicks make moves too early? They could have had."
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's like instead of they messed it up, it's they missed their chance.
Right. Like and whatever. Like the Knicks. Do you want to check in on our under overs?
It's like checking with the hot girl from high school 20 years later, and she's like, you totally could have did me back in high school.
I really had a crush on you. You're lying. No. I always want you. You never gave me attention. I stared at you like the entire math class.
Oh, what'd you want to go to?
Oh, you want to look at our under overs? Just change topic for a second.
Sure, you defeated man.
I am defeated. Do you want me to do some positives? Just do some positives. Some positive time.
Yeah, I said like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay, you want to do some positive stuff? Okay. Towns he's picked up his offense dramatically since our last show. We've seen what the offense looks like when Towns is really going off. He got a bunch of rebounds. Also, OG's his 3-point shooting is back. Josh Hart still doing all the little things, and he's contributing on offense.
All right, let's do over and unders. So
OG's defense still looks good. Mikal Bridges' defense looks good at times. Let's go to under overs. Okay, what do we got?
We have Clippers under 35.5.
Okay, Clippers are 3-4. They, still, I mean, Norm Powell still looks good. It still remains to be seen.
Yeah, right now they're on pace for around that, so that one's going to be. I still think they're going to. No, I still feel good about the under. We have the Blazers over.
The Blazers are currently 3-5.
22.5. That's all we need for that one.
22 wins.
22.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I still feel pretty good about. They have enough talent on that team that they should be able to win. Simons is pretty good. They got Scoot still. They got
23 wins is still 59 losses. Like I feel pretty good.
You
about
could
this
be
one.
really bad and still get those wins. Yeah. But yeah, they got Ayton. They got enough talent on this team. They got Jeremy Grant, who's supposed to still be a pretty good basketball player.
Yeah. Grizzlies under 47.5.
Okay.
Feel good about
the
that
Grizzlies. I still feel pretty good about this also. I mean, obviously, did you see that movie made the other night? Might have been last night?
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like he was going in slow-mo.
John's pretty good at basketball.
It's just I don't know what it is about that roster, but last year they had, 10 guys injured? This year they already have a bunch of guys injured.
They have so many guys injured already. So they're 4-4. What is it, 45 wins?
47.5.
That number still seemed really high.
It does.
That's all.
It does. I feel good about that one. Let's see. We have the Knicks over 54.5.
Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah. We have the Sixers. We have under 48.5.
I wish I had bet my house on that one.
I know. I feel good about most of these so far, I got to say.
There is nothing I feel greater than I mean, I wish I had taken my life savings and my wife would be like, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "You don't understand how bad these Sixers are right now."
The only pick that I regret is having you talk me out of the Bucks under.
Holy shit. They look, I mean, because the Sixers are at least We just got Paul George back. We're gonna get Embiid back some point. The Bucks are like, this is our roster.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that was my number one on the under, and you talked me out of it. They're 1-6, and they had some really good games recently, and didn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're gonna.
They also
I mean, they're
started
1-6.
They started
and
off
a
1-0, by the way.
I mean, to me, like they'll probably win 40. What was the under over for them? 50?
It was something pretty high. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
in
high
theory, I would
40s.
think like 44, 45. They're still gonna win more. They're gonna go on a streak at some point. They're not this big. Okay, so in a couple weeks they fire Doc Rivers, and they'll suddenly start playing a lot better.
They're like a Giannis ankle roll away from never winning a game again.
I mean, they were like a couple games over 500, and then they hired Doc, and the season like actually they were more than a couple. They had a pretty decent record. Doc and Doc's a good coach. I don't understand why they're so bad with Doc.
Maybe he's not a good coach.
He had such a track record.
Name a good track record from Doc since leaving Boston.
Oh, the Clipper years. He was pretty good with the Clippers.
Was he? Or did they underachieve every year?
I don't know. They had pretty good records. I don't know. They
Doesn't he
like
have the record for the
it's
most blown playoff leads in the NBA history?
he's coached a lot of good teams. Your argument over the team's better than he held them back. Who the hell knows?
I think he's blown the most 3-1 leads in NBA history.
But what is that, two?
No, it's like 3 or 4. Like it's a good amount. It's a
Okay,
lot.
okay. What's the next one?
Hornets under 30.5.
The Hornets now are 2-5. I feel pretty good about this one.
Yeah.
The under's always a little tougher because you're like, will they get to those victories? Like it's easier to go on. Well, it's easier to go under with good teams. It's harder to go under with bad teams when the numbers are lower, I guess.
I mean, Ball didn't miss his obligatory 25 game absence yet, and they're still
right. He's gonna be gone soon. Just like he'll be on his like mid-season vacation soon, guaranteed. So
Timberwolves over 52.5.
the T-Wolves are 4-3. Julius Randle had his first poor shooting game of the season. Dante's been like he started off slow, playing a little better.
Conley and Gobert have been playing like garbage.
Okay, yeah. They'll play better.
Yeah. I dropped Conley, but I'm holding on to Gobert. He's not going to play this bad.
No, I mean Gobert has such a track record. Like I'm sure he will bounce back soon. Dante also will become a bigger part of their offense. I expect. You got Anthony Edwards. They got a good team there.
And the last one, we have Mavericks over 49.5.
Mavericks are 4-3. I still feel pretty good about this. OKC is 7-0. They look pretty good. We should have guessed going over for Phoenix. Phoenix is 6-1. Or Golden State, which is 6-1, which is again early returns, but those teams are playing pretty well to start the season.
They are, but Beal and Durant have been healthy, which doesn't usually happen all season.
I guess would you say Cleveland is the most surprising, the biggest surprise? I know Cleveland's good regular season, but they're 8-0.
Yeah. I've been saying that they're a really good regular season team. I didn't expect 8-0, but they are a really good regular season team. I just think they're a little soft in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks. Yeah, if you're a Cleveland fan, you gotta love how they started the season. That's all. Yeah, and in the West, the Jazz are 1-6. They're the worst, and the OKC you could expect. That makes sense. Phoenix is a little bit surprising. Golden State's a bit surprising also.
They are, especially with Curry out. They're still winning, and that weird 12-man rotation seems to be working for some reason.
You think that's better than a 6-man rotation the Knicks are running?
A little bit. Not good for fantasy, but really good for not having your guys get worn out. It also like when you're playing a team, it's just like constant fresh legs. Like it's a little it throws you off. Like if I've only played high school ball, but if a team makes a ton of subs, it confuses you on the defensive end after a while.
Right. It's good if you have depth. It can make a big difference.
There's
I
so
mean,
many,
obviously,
like,
I think a
different
tighter
looks.
rotation in the when you get towards a playoff time. The Knicks, could use a couple guys off the bench who could just like be change of pace, like just like very athletic, just guys that could be a problem for a little while. Which I guess McBride can be a bit of a problem, I guess, for a defense because he can shoot at times. But like, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if the Knicks had a guy who could just like really be a difference, like just a 15-minute a game difference maker on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be nice if the Knicks had anyone on the bench besides McBride.
Well, I think better times are coming.
Yes, I think there'll be a game soon where Campaign will go off and we'll be like, "Oh, we love Campaign. Look how good he is."
And there's
You think?
the Knicks might get Shamet back too.
Yes, Landry Shamet, who has been so good up to this point in his NBA career, is going to be a huge addition to the team.
I mean, he just needs to play like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I hate that thing of like, he just needs to, you know what, we said for a while that all Sims needs to do is play 12 minutes a night. It doesn't matter. It seems to matter when he's on the court.
Well, I didn't mean play. I meant play well. There's a big difference.
Right.
But he's not playing well, so that's the difference.
Well, it's hard. I mean, a guy like, no one's like, I don't know.
There's plenty of guys who could play 12 minutes. Look at Golden State's entire roster. Nobody plays more than like 15 minutes.
It's an interesting strategy.
I really thought it was a weird gimmick that wasn't going to work, but
It's really early. I haven't looked at their schedule, who they're beating either, so maybe they've had some easier games.
yeah, but Curry missed the last two.
What'd you say?
But Curry missed the last two. You'd think like doesn't matter who they're playing if like.
Right, you miss your best play, missing your best player, that should hurt.
I mean, they beat the Rockets. The last game was the Wizards, who might be the worst team in the league. I mean, they haven't been playing like the best teams. They beat the Pelicans twice.
By the way, there's no way in God's green earth that the Wizards are worse than the Pistons.
Actually, the Warriors might have had the easiest starting schedule of all time. Blazers, Jazz, Clippers, Pelicans twice, Rockets, Wizards.
Okay, so they had one win that actually was decent.
Yeah, and they lost to the Clippers. The Rockets was a decent win.
I mean, the Rockets are not a bad team. Also, I would have picked them for. I was thinking of them for the over. Not that like they have a very good coach. They have a lot of like really athletic young guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things in that team. I don't know. Well, I mean, a lot of good guys on that team. Like they're a tough team. The Knicks should have beaten. The Knicks should be better than them. I don't know.
When the Knicks play them again later in the season, they're going to beat them.
Okay. There you go.
All right. So thanks for listening. I am going to go to Thailand in less than 48 hours. So I will be gone for 2 weeks.
Jay is leaving the country based on the results of tonight's election.
And so Mark may or may not do a show without me.
I probably may do one without you.
Okay. So stay tuned for that. And I will be back in November to talk about this winning streak.
Yes, Jay feels that the Knicks will not lose a game until he is back.
There you go.
Which will make for the happiest return trip. You know what will happen? The Knicks will win like 10 in a row, and then Jay will get back, and right before he gets back, they will have just an embarrassing loss, and it'll be another negative show.
Right.
And Jay will be like, but what about those 10? Listen, Jay, I don't want to talk about history. Last night's game is all I want to focus on.
All right, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, nyknickspodcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. We also have a Discord, which I always forget to mention. The link's there on our website and on Twitter, on all our socials. And if you can't find it, you can email us, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you a link to the Discord. We are almost at 100 members. We're at 96.
Okay. So I'm going to sign up soon. I'm excited. Tell me when you get to 99. I want to be the 100th member.
This is the 3rd year anniversary of Mark saying he's going to join the Discord.
Am I on the Discord? I think I'm on there.
You might be. I don't know.
Okay.
There's a Brink Discord too, but it's
I'm
funny.
not. You can't I can't join both, Jay.
It's funny because everybody knows that you're just not on those.
I think I may or may not have the Discord app on my phone.
All right. Well, that's a start.
That's how most things in life are.
Yeah.
May or may not.
All right. So thanks for listening, everybody, and I will see you when I get back. Goodbye.
Bye, love.